Hi, and welcome to the Business Growth Show, brought to you by 408 Media. I'm your host, Darren Graham, and what a show we have for you today, ladies and gents. Today's guest is Paul Millican of Cam Videography, and today we're going to be picking his brains on how you can use video to grow your brand and your business. Paul's actually created Cam Videography to help businesses make video possible. He's helped companies like Wolf 4x4 showcase exactly why you need their products, and also helps local businesses create epic videos to help tell their story and essentially why you should pick them. I've met Paul at several events and I've helped put on events with Paul as well, and I've learned that what he doesn't know about videos isn't a lot and isn't worth knowing, to be fair. So without further ado, Paul, how the devil are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you, Darren. Very well indeed. Thank you very much for having me on your prestigious podcast. I need to make sure.
Joining us.
Yeah, no problem at all. I need to make sure my headphones stay on my head, because you talking about that, it's going to swell my brain up. I'm going to give myself a bit of an ego. I need to keep it in check. Yeah, I'm very well. Things are starting to speed up again, just getting to after Christmas, so everyone wraps things up generally when they're winding down for the winter season, but yeah. It's always takes me by surprise how quickly things can pick up again going into the new year. I think everyone gets reinvigorated with kind of like the need to get on the content train, get their marketing sorted out, sort of refresh their brand a little bit, their brand identity, and content's the first part of that, which is where they come to me, or people like me. So yeah, things are really going well.
Perfect. As I said, ladies and gents, today we're going to be delving into how to grow your brand and your business with video, and I'm going to be diving straight into the questions with Paul to get started. So for those of us that don't know you or Cam Videography, if you just tell us a bit about yourself, how you got started, and what Cam Videography does.
Yep. Okay. So Cam Videography began as just a solo freelance venture for me, really. I didn't want to label it as Paul Millican, because eventually I'd like to expand and take on apprentices and expand the business in that way, make it a full-on production studio. But I saw there was a gap in the market where you have either people recording videos on their mobile phones and not getting across that professional grade of content, be it through their social media channels or through their actual website videos. I've seen quite a few website videos that have been filmed on camera phones, and it's been not quite bringing across the professional edge to what they need. But you then ask the question, well, why are they doing it that way? Because budgets are a constraint. Because maybe they're a small to medium business who is thinking of how they're going to afford rent at the end of the month. They maybe don't have the massive paychecks or income yet where they can afford a bigger production studio to produce their larger advertisements, their social media content, things like that. So being a one-man band, as I sort of deem myself as, because I kind of learned production techniques throughout university and then throughout my other careers moving up to this point, I feel that I can keep it all under one roof and all under one paycheck. Essentially, at the end of the day, I'm the only one that's being paid for my services, so I can keep the costs down for the client and ensure that they receive professional, affordable videos and motion graphics.
Perfect. Sounds perfect. So how long have we been going? 2.5 years, did you say now?
Yeah, about 2.5 years.
Okay, cool. And we're looking for expansion. That's great. Cool.
Yeah, it's certainly at a point where things are starting to move in the direction where I can take a back seat. I can focus more on the editing side of things, which is where I'm most comfortable. And in terms of taking out on the roads, getting video cameras out onto client sites, so down in Birmingham, down in London, things like that. Obviously, you lose quite a lot of time traveling down to those locations. So to have camera crew on call to get down there, that's really what I'm looking at this year.
Cool. That sounds brilliant. I mean, I saw some of the videos you've been putting out on LinkedIn, especially the one for Wolf 4x4, and there was another one as well, which was for, I think it was a gardening company as well. Yeah. The production, that was beautiful. It's very like Top Gear sort of esque, and the sort of quality that you managed to bring into that for what I assume wouldn't be a stupid Top Gear budget was pretty impressive. So kudos for that. Question 2, it's one we get asked a lot, and it's as a business owner or marketing manager, how can they better use video to tell their story and build their brand or their company?
Well, I think using video, that's a bit of a, I don't know. It's positioning video as a bit of a roadblock or a hurdle between the brand and the story. Like the story and the brand are one and the same thing.
Yeah.
The video is just a means of getting it out there, essentially. So as long as you have some production know-how, and as long as your story is interesting, and I mean, what self-made business isn't an interesting story at the end of the day?
True.
And how isn't that a story worth telling?
Yeah.
People relate to other people on a sort of storytelling basis at the end of the day. That's why social media content is such a huge thing, because people like people. So in terms of using video, they just go hand in hand. Like if you want to forward your brand, and if you want to really stick in the minds of your clients, your potential clients, then you just got to get the phone out. You just got to start recording what you're doing, recording the next project or the next kind of phase of your business. And a video is a perfect way of capturing that and then feeding it out to your clients or feeding it out to your audience, your network. Obviously, what's the word? Traditionally, you would have a blog post or blog updates and you know, newsletters and things like that. But people do not want to read through paragraphs and paragraphs of text anymore. It just turns people right off. We are in a generation where attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, and it just goes to show in the statistics why video is getting more and more traction. Yeah, I think it's a crazy stat. Like by the end of next year, or maybe the end of this year. Yes, it's by the end of this year. They're predicted to have over 80% of all internet traffic is going to be video based, and it's crazy. It's absolutely mental.
Well, I know from our side of things, Facebook's pushing video like crazy. So if you're on that platform and you're not using video, you need to be using video, especially from the ads point of view. The traction that gets is insane. So I can wholly imagine that's going to stick. Yeah,
like with Facebook, and then it's either one's following the other. LinkedIn, I'm not sure. Are LinkedIn owned by Facebook, or are they?
No, LinkedIn's Microsoft now.
Right. Okay.
Microsoft bought LinkedIn. They're doing it again. They're doing a big push with video. So if you're using video on LinkedIn, you get over-indexed in the algorithm, so you'll naturally do better with video.
Okay, yeah.
So even if you just read out your blog post on a video, you would get better views and traction than you would with a blog post. And I think they're looking.
Although that would probably be about a 15-minute video, which probably wouldn't play too well on LinkedIn. People scrolling down, it's like, oh, how long is this? 15? Right, okay, keep scrolling. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. So but yeah, it's becoming bigger and bigger, and I think I don't know if a lot of people know, but then you've got YouTube, which is the second largest search engine in the world, so it says it all, really.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
One thing that we often hear from clients is that it's something you touched on, is I don't have the resources, I don't have the time to create videos. What would you advise those sort of people that can see the benefits of video but can't see how to get over that so-called hurdle of creating the video?
Well, I would say first of all, when people say that they don't have the time, it's worth making the time to find for video. Like even if you have to pull an evening shift at some point, just do a bit of research into it, because it might just be me speaking from experience, but to get into video, it really isn't that hard. Not anymore. Yeah. Like I might be sort of cutting the leg out from underneath my own business model here, but to at least get into video and to start getting content out there, even if it's not a sort of semi-professional, professional grade, it's always worth putting the research into so that you can find that, because the amount of traction that you get, like you mentioned earlier, Facebook is championing video, LinkedIn, the algorithm, and in terms of your organic reach using video is absolutely insane. The amount of new connections and the amount of reach that you can get organically through video is mental. Yeah. Unlike anything, unlike blog posts, unlike all the rest of it. So
I mean, it's the reason we're recording this as well as it being a podcast. The reason we're recording this is so we can reuse this video content across LinkedIn, across YouTube, across
precisely else. And assuming that I don't waffle on inanely for too long, we can cut it down into nice sound bites, and then we can put it out there as 30, 45-second pieces of video. But because of the way I talk and I don't ever end my sentences, that's never going to happen. But anyway, I digress. So the main thing is if they don't think that they have time, is think how much their time is worth.
Yes.
And think how much think how
Video.
much making time for video is worth.
Yeah.
Because you just have to look on LinkedIn to see how well it performs. And getting down to the technical aspects of it, I'm sure everyone's got a phone. I'm sure everyone's got an iPhone or the latest Samsung phone. Their video quality is incredible.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting absolutely brilliant. I mean, Samsung just released the S20, and all of the promotional videos.
4 or 5. Was that shot with that video, with that phone?
The S20 Ultra,
yeah.
I know that that's got, I think, 4 cameras on the back, 3 or 4 cameras on the back, and probably 2 on the front, 1 wide angle. But I don't think the adverts were shot with the cameras. That was the latest iPhone
that did that.
The latest iPhone, they did a snowball fight, and that was all shot on iPhone. Obviously, they had a lot of production staff and crew and lighting behind that.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was all shot on iPhones is one thing, and it's incredible to see what they've done. But with Samsung, for their entire live stream, when they revealed the Samsung Galaxy S20 and all of its kind of family, they were live streaming using the phones. They were on massive camera rigs. It was crazy to see these big industrial camera rigs going down to a little box that just had the phones just lodged in them there.
That's crazy.
It just goes to show how much of a focus there is for these big tech companies to put so much into their video cameras on these phones.
Yeah.
So everyone's got a pretty decent phone, a pretty decent camera these days. And more often than not, you can just go straight to live stream. You can record a video and upload it straight from LinkedIn. It's very, very easy to get into video. And the only thing getting in the way of that is lack of knowledge and lack of confidence. But by practicing both of those, you can make it happen very, very quickly. Yeah,
no, I agree. I mean, like I spoke to you about, we're getting into it slowly but surely. And it is, I think a lot of it as well is people just a little bit scared to get in front of the camera as well, which I get. I think totally you've just got to just blast through and just get on with it, I think, for a lot of people. Yeah, you have to. I mean, if you want to bring across your brand identity, we touched on it earlier, like people like interacting with people at the end of the day. We're past the point of the sales generation, the cold selling generation. That doesn't work anymore because it's such an interconnected personal social media network that we're working with. You can't be impersonal. You can't do the cold sell anymore. It just doesn't work. So it sounds almost, I don't know, a little bit totalitarian to say, but if you want to be successful in the 21st century, you need to get used to being in front of the camera. You need to get used to being in an empty office or an empty house and talking to a lens and nobody else is there. And it's a really, really strange thing to do, but it's one of those skills that is invaluable in the future. Well, it's weird you said that, because I was talking with a client the other day and they were talking about sales, marketing, that sort of stuff. And we got onto the topic of video and, where do you see it coming into the sort of the marketing mix? And like, well, can you imagine if you could have a new salesperson every day that would go out for you and sell for free, and every month you would create a new salesperson, you'd put them online and you'd optimize them properly, and they would generate you leads and sales. With no commission. Essentially, if you were to do YouTube well or Facebook ads well or whatever platform it is, and you did a video that was just there forever, just eventually, using the algorithm, getting found, pushing leads and sales to you.
Yeah, that's the main tangible benefit, because that's the thing when people are looking to get this is more for promotional videos now. Yeah. So your promotional video for your website, that's just going to be up on your splash page, and it's going to be kind of like the first port of call for everyone.
Yeah.
When obviously higher value productions like that have a bit more of a budget behind them, that's when people start to get a bit scared, because people are used to dealing traditionally with tangible benefits. So sort of like, what is this £4,000 going to get me? Right. Well, it's going to get you this in the office. It's going to get you that new printer. It's going to get you these monitors and this, that, the other, and it's going to help your productivity. Fantastic. I get that. What's this £500, £600 going to get me? Well, it's going to get you a video and we're going to put it on your website. People, well, I don't know, it might be shifting now. It tends to be, with the last few clients that I've talked to, it tends to be shifting a little bit more, and that's what people are keying onto. But like you said, it's almost like a free digital door-to-door salesman.
Yeah.
Not one that kind of, not the one that kind of barges down people's doors, but it's almost like a front of office when they come and see what this website or what this service has to offer or what this product. They've immediately got that window that's automatically building a relationship without you having to do anything.
And to that point, it's, you know, what you're going to get for that money. It's like exactly saying, right, well, if you hired a salesperson and just put them in your office and just hope that someone walks in and speaks to them, when that happens, that's when you're going to get the benefit out of that salesperson, is when someone comes into your office and speaks to them. In the same way with a video that you create, if you don't distribute that and you don't get it in front of people for that interaction to happen, it's not going to have the same benefit. So if you're going to put it on the website that's got traffic to it, and it's going to help with, you know, keeping your bounce rates down, it's going to help with conversions, it's going to help with, you know, in terms of SEO, the more rich media you've got on the website, the better. So from that point of view, it's worth getting a video on the website. And then secondly, if you can distribute it on these platforms as well, it's a whole nother kettle of fish then.
Yeah, that's it. I think there was, what's the statistic? I think it was something like 63% higher conversion rate if your website has got a video on it. Yeah. Not only, like you say, was the SEO, you get bumped up in those search results, so you're more likely for people to arrive on the page in the first place. Yeah. But your conversion rate going up by over 50%. That's mental. But like you say, it's the equivalent of having somebody just at the front of office. It's like the equivalent of having a rep in the car garage to walk up to you and say, "Good day, come and look at our this, that, the other."
Yeah.
It's just, it's such an invaluable tool.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Brilliant. In terms of sort of your advice, what would your sort of 3 pieces of advice be for companies that have, let's say they've never considered video and are just sort of getting and understanding the concept of it, you know, for the business at the minute? What were the 3 pieces of advice you'd give them with about using video for the business?
Who's never considered video, never considered it.
Well, not that me never considered, but or becoming aware of video and how it could potentially help. Very new to it.
Yeah. I would say, first of all, is just to look at the market, what the market demands, and what where your clients are, where your market is. And your market is going to be on the internet, invariably. That's the biggest portion of the pie that you are going to get to with the most minimal effort, and video is the way to do that. The second is looking at your own story of your own business. I mentioned earlier, like nobody who's made a business has an uninteresting story. Everyone has got a story to tell with their business. Yeah. I don't care what you say, even if you're a shoemaker, from a watchmaker, website designer, everyone has got a story. Yeah. So you need to think about how you can capture parts of that story or the entire story and squeeze it down into a way that people relate to. Yeah. And it's not that hard, because as long as you're genuine with your business and your mission statement or your product, it's not that hard to bring the story elements and to bring the personal connection to your brand. Yes. And then the third thing is to not be scared. Just don't be scared of video, because it can seem... Yeah, I'm reminded, I went to the commercial vehicle show a couple of years ago. Okay. This is when I was first starting out at Cam Videography. And I was going around just asking, you know, there are all sorts of startups there. It's essentially just a massive trade show. People have booths from all over the place. You've got the large stage shows like Ford. You've got Eddie Stobart with their new sort of innovations of, you know, their transit vans and trucks and things like that. But then you've got smaller startups, people of like 2 companies who've just got a hired warehouse. They're coming up with like new parking meters and, you know, like smart road safety cams and things like that. Yeah. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go around and I'm going to hand my card out and I'm going to see what they're up to. I'm going to see if we're a good match, and then, you know, we'll maybe get some business from it. Yeah. There was, had a lot of really, really interesting, good conversations. But there was one chap who he was selling lifts for disability sort of lifts, so for wheelchairs to get access into vans and things like that. Just those lifts that you just bolt onto the backs of access vans and things like that. Yeah. And I approached him and I said, "Hello there, sir. I'm a videographer. I'm completely freelance. I'm just wandering around today, seeing just the products that are on show and seeing if you'd be interested in any sort of social media videos or videos for your website." And he didn't even speak to me. As I was approaching it, I shook his hand, and then he took his hand away and he was like, And then he just started slowly shaking his head, and I'm sort of like,
Oh
I'm
dear,
sorry.
have
What have
I
I done? What have I
offended
done? I'm
you?
so sorry. So that's when I think don't be scared. I just think back to that, and it's sort of like, for some people, there's I don't know, a genuine fear. I
Yeah,
think maybe it's just a fear of the unknown. Maybe it's just the fear of their own, how nervous they might be in front of
yeah,
camera. But just don't be scared, because everyone is going to be nervous and awkward when they first start it, because you're always nervous and awkward when you first start anything.
anything. Yeah, you're right.
Key is to
Completely.
just jump in, because it's so worth it, and the
Yeah,
feedback that you get from it. I mean, I've made the conscious decision to uptick in the amount of social media content that I put out onto LinkedIn,
yeah,
and the feedback that I'm getting from it is fantastic, and I'm feeling much more comfortable, and the ideas are flowing more regularly,
yeah,
and it's just getting better and better, and the connections and the organic reach is getting better with that. So
yeah,
yeah, to recap, look at the market and demands. What was the other one? Look at the market and demands, look at your own story and how you can develop that into content,
yeah.
and don't be
Don't be
scared
scared.
of creating that content, and
Yeah,
things will happen sooner than you expect.
brilliant, brilliant bits there. Looking forward now, what do you think, or what does the future of video look like for businesses? So, as a business owner or marketing manager, what's the future got in store, and how can they take advantage of that?
I think a lot of the future, if LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and other similar websites all keep the same way that they are currently handling organic reach, and how they're handling video in general, and how favorable it is to video, and all signs point to yes with what we said about the 80% traffic by the end of the year, I think businesses need to seriously consider in-house social media production. Maybe not in-house full-on video production, because that requires budget, that requires expertise, that requires a lot more input from creative professionals, rather than somebody who's just got a camera and can, record a weekly kind of blog update thing. But when it comes to that social media content, that regular social media content, we're seeing right now how valuable that is, and how really considering investing into their own internal social media channels, essentially, just like you'd have a HR department, just like you'd have a design department.
Yeah.
Get yourself a social media department if you don't already.
Yeah,
in terms
content
of
creation.
Content creation. In terms of the actual future itself, I'd say something like this is some of it. Something like this, the format of really good conversations between businesses, documented, because documenting it costs absolutely nothing. It costs nothing but time, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
And creating that content, that valuable content, to put out to social media channels, to educate, to inform, to drive engagement. I'd say going into the future, though, I think there's just going to be more video. And if you're not doing it, then you're going to go under the waves. So
I completely agree. I think video formats sizing as well. We're seeing some really, really surprising results with like Instagram stories and vertical video.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms the creative aspect of that is interesting as well, because normally like this, it's horizontal, whereas you've got to think of like the limitations of, okay, how do we get two people into a vertical video, and how do people interact with it and things like that. So I think that's really interesting as well. And maybe even,
absolutely.
I don't know if more live, because I know you got Instagram, you got Facebook, Twitter do live now. They did. I don't know if they incorporate it into a platform, but I'm pretty sure LinkedIn they're going to do live as well.
I'm not sure if I think IGTV was a thing. I'm not sure if Instagram Live is still a thing as well.
Yeah, that's still flying IGTV. So with Instagram, you can do 59-second video clips in the feed, 15-second clips in your stories. If it's longer than 15 seconds, you've got to upload it for Instagram TV and kind of post that through onto your thing, and then it will play through that. But no, some really, really good bits of advice there, Paul. Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. I think there's a lot of things that people can take away and actually implement into the business straight away, especially when if it's just literally just grabbing hold of your phone, getting started with it, trying to see what resonates, what doesn't resonate, and then, you know, looking at someone like Paul to go, right, Paul, we've done this. We kind of want to bundle it together into a nice professional package and put it on the website, and you know, helping out with storyboard and everything like that. That's a skill in itself. So,
Absolutely.
so
I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on content based around how to make your mobile videos pop a little bit more, and sort of professional, like pretty cost-effective ways that you can make your mobile phone production video kind of bring that up to snuff as well, with like stabilizers, microphones, the kind of kit that you can use. So I'm going to be providing some more of that content in the future. That's just going to be stuff that I'm going to throw out onto LinkedIn, because I think that's another hurdle, is people think, oh, well, I can just use my phone. Oh, but if I hold it with my hands, then it's just going to be like, oh, hello, it's me. It's just going to be kind of like, oh, I have to recenter this now. A little bit, you know, off the cuff and not professional enough, which can impact things, to be fair. But yeah, that's not the case. There are so many hardware solutions in place these days where you can actually add a professional edge to your mobile phone recording. So I'm going to be doing a bit of content there just to kind of bring people up to speed on what's available too.
That would be brilliant. Well, I'll certainly be watching those because I need a lot of help with that. But no, really appreciate your time today, Paul. And I know you've had a bit of very busy schedule, so it's been great to catch you on this.
No problem at all.
So for anyone that wants to get in contact with you, you know, speak to you about your services, or just, you know, follow you on social, how do they do that and where should they go?
Okay. Well, you can follow me, Paul Millican, on LinkedIn, obviously, which is where we're probably going to be watching this now. So drop us a connection request and I'll definitely accept. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm just Cam Videography on Instagram. You can see some of my latest bits and pieces. It's more of a sort of photography portfolio because I post more of my photo stuff there. If you're interested in business inquiries, if you want to get in touch, you can email me at paul@camvideography.com, or you can go on the website camvideography.com and you can see a showreel of some of my latest pieces and also other bits of contact information there.
Perfect. That's brilliant. For everyone listening to this on the podcast, we'll put all of those contact details in the show notes. And for anyone watching on YouTube, they'll be in the details below. So just scroll down. And also, before we go, I just want to say thank you very much to everyone listening and watching. If you've got any particular advice or ideas on what you'd like to hear from us going forward, feel free to drop a comment if you're watching on YouTube, or leave us a message if you are on listening to this on the podcast. But again, thanks very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Darren.
Cheers.